Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Serving with Purpose. I'm Danny.
And I am Carolina, and before Danny presents our guest today, I have some messages for you. We are on YouTube every Tuesday, so please comment, like, subscribe. Danny's still serving at Sir and Roscoe's Chickens and Waffles, so you guys stop by to say hi to her.
Please.
And I'm serving on Star Crabs, so you guys
Say
stop
hi
by.
to her.
And if you subscribe to Reality Network, you got a free appetizer. You don't have to buy anything. Just come and show, and you're gonna get your free appetizer. And if you're not subscriber to Reality Network, do it. Use the code SERVE, and you get $10 off. There's a lot of amazing shows. Peter is doing something really special for you guys. Shout out to Peter.
Shout out to Peter Madrigal.
And then I know you're excited.
Yes, I am. I
ahead.
am. You guys are in for a treat today. We have a very special guest. She's an actress, a director, and writer. You've seen her on Broadway. She's been on a series of amazing shows. CBS's Blue Blood, for example. Also, The Blacklist. You are going to be so entertained by this lovely young lady. She's gorgeous. Everyone, please give a warm welcome to Miss Georgia Waner. Hello, Georgia.
Well, howdy.
Thank you for
I'm just so chuffed to be here. How are you?
I am very well. I'm very excited to be here. I'm very flattered, honored to, I've listened
We
to
are
your show
very
so
happy,
far. I
yeah.
love it. And
Thank
you guys just have
you.
such positive energy. And
Hey.
all about those vibes, you know?
I love that. All the way from New York City.
Well, originally from New York City.
Okay,
yeah.
originally by way of.
By way of my mother.
Wait, what do you mean? That's the right answer.
Yeah, no, I lived in LA 10 years ago for a year, and then I just moved back here last January. I have kind of a running joke, like every 10 years, it's not really a joke, it's very accurate. Every 10 years, I do a Holocaust play, lose my mind, and then move to Los Angeles.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Okay.
Welcome back.
10 years ago, I was doing Diary of Anne Frank at Bay Street Theater, and I was just like, wow, this is the saddest play. I am so sad all the time. And then my friend was like, you know, if you come to LA, it's sunny and you can do comedy. And I was like, great idea. And I moved. Then I had to go back for work, for a movie and some other stuff. And then just last year, I was doing a world premiere of The Pianist, which, laugh out loud musical comedy. Just kidding, super sad.
Right. It was terrible.
Yeah, real sad.
I mean, just sad. Yeah.
And it was just, I was like, you know what? The time has come again for me to go where
Need
the
some
sun
sun in my
shines.
face.
Yeah, and like
Yes.
get back into my creative comedic side, which is where I'm personally comfiest, despite what my resume will tell you. You cry
I was
on
like,
one
there's a
TV
lot of
show.
murder, blood.
Yeah,
All the good stuff.
I'm funny. I am.
It's like, I swear to God, I'm funny. I don't just know how to die or kill.
Not just, you know.
I love that. So, how was it working on The Blacklist?
The Blacklist was great. I mean, I only did one day on Blacklist. I played a bartender who I do have a kind of a funny story about it. The character that I played was an aspiring makeup artist who was a recovering heroin addict. I guess
my
they
God.
said she was recovering.
Very light.
I was about to say.
And so, you know,
Art imitating
there's a
life.
moment where one of the characters like sees the track marks on my arms and is like, hey, do you know where I can get anything? And I'm like, oh, I don't really do that anymore.
Yeah, I don't
whatever.
mess with that no more.
So then at the end of the day, the hair and makeup team was like, okay, you're done. Like, do you want us to take your makeup off before you go? And I was like, no, actually, like, I'm going out tonight and I think my makeup looks good, so I'll just stay in it. So I go out the whole night, go dancing, get home, see my arm and go, oh, I literally went out all night with track marks down my arm.
I know everyone was like fiending, like the ones that do it. Like,
that was
where's she
very
got that
normal in
juice?
New
It's like,
York.
where's she got that? I know. What's up with it?
So
That's funny. That's actually
funny
funny.
moment,
Yeah,
but,
that is actually funny. You didn't
But
even.
yeah, I've just done a couple co-stars, a couple guest stars a day here and there. I'm actually about to do my first recurring role. I'm flying back to New York next week for to bring Loretta back to Gravesend.
Oh
Yes.
wow!
So that'll be
Where did she
fun.
go?
Where did she go?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. I mean, she shot a day, and then they called me and were like, "You want to come back?" And I said,
"Yes, I do."
"Yes, please." Yes, please,
That is
madame.
awesome.
So, yeah.
Who's your favorite person to work with? Because you've done
Ever?
Blue Bloods.
Well, I mean, I've done a few TV shows, and I certainly those get more. But I've done a lot of theater. I mean, I've been I have a hair in my mouth. Yummy, yummy. I've been doing theater my whole life, and so most of the people that our audience would know, I know through theater, not through film and TV.
Got
so
it.
like, I was very fortunate to get to work with Alec Baldwin a few times on stage. We did Equus together.
Oh, wow.
And I adore that man so
I was
much.
about
Can we
to
curse
say,
on
is he
this show?
sweet? Yes.
I fucking love Alec. He's the best, man. He's got such great energy.
Does he?
Golden Retriever vibes, you know.
Yes, right.
And then I don't know who are some people. God, I mean, I've been very lucky to get to work with a lot of really cool people. I'm trying to think of who
Wait,
has
Tom
given
Selleck
me,
was in Blue Bloods.
not
right?
in my scenes.
Oh, okay.
So I didn't get to meet him personally.
Okay,
but-
okay. Because I'm like, man, of the 3 Men and a Baby, like that was my movie.
No, my Blue Bloods.
I was like, Tom Selleck, that mustache, baby.
He can rock it. My Blue Blood stuff was with Donnie
Donnie. Oh, Wahlberg.
Wahlberg.
Yes.
Well, yeah. Weird that I
Donnie.
knew the first name and not the
Yeah,
last
right.
name. But yeah, Donnie Wahlberg. That was who I did my stuff with. Yeah.
He was so cool. You know what? Did anyone
great.
know that he started in The Sixth Sense and he was the crazy guy at the beginning that
What?
killed? Yes, that was Donnie
No.
Wahlberg.
Wow.
That's the one that killed Bruce. Well, if you, I'm
he's
sure.
unrecognizable. You can't even tell it's him.
You can't even tell because he was so skinny and he did such an amazing
Wow.
job.
I had no idea.
Heck yeah, that was his. Yeah, shout
more
out to
you
M. Night
know.
Shyamalan. For a great because who knows?
Yes,
Who knows? You know that Marky Mark's brother would be, freaking killing it now and starting from that role. So yeah, that's crazy.
One like celebrity moment that comes to mind is like when I was in my early 20s, which I still am.
Yes. Okay. Which
when I
was a
was-
year ago.
Yeah, which was this morning.
Right.
When I was
Yes. Look
Crazy.
at him. Look at him. That was Donnie Wahlberg, you guys.
that looks like Jimmy Simpson.
Right?
Is that not?
No, that is Donnie Wahlberg. Mm-hmm. That's him.
Crazy.
Isn't it? I know. No one
Totally
ever
nuts.
knew that. Thank you, Mark, for doing that because
Yeah.
no one ever
Insane.
believes me. I believe you. No, they would just be, because who could picture that?
Yeah, no,
You
that's
know what I'm saying? And he
wild.
was all crying, and it was just like, he really was a serious actor.
Yeah.
Like even more so than Mark probably at that time
Mm-hmm.
because he, like the roles that Mark plays, like Fear. That's one of the movies that I think of when I think of
seen
Marky. Oh, with Reese Witherspoon. Oh, girl, you got to see that. He
Okay.
was so good. It's this, but those roles are more believable. This guy, it was like completely out of character. When you think of Donnie Wahlberg, you're
Yeah.
never gonna think of that guy, the crazy guy at the beginning that shot Bruce Willis in
Yeah.
Sixth Sense. So it was just
I
like,
gotta
shout out to
rewatch
you. Yeah, rewatch it and then
Well,
just see.
Speaking of actors who play very, very dark roles,
Yeah.
when I was in my early 20s, I got to do a workshop, just like a private closed door workshop of it's called A Month in the Country that Classic Stage Company was doing. It's an old play. Cool story, I think. Just like it's a casting director I had auditioned for a few times, never been cast, never gotten a call back. And then he just reached out to my agents and were like, we want Georgia in this. So it's like, no audition is for nothing. They'll remember you if you stand out. Anyway, I got to do this workshop with Elizabeth Moss. from,
Oh,
you
I
know,
love Elizabeth Moss,
everything.
of course, from everything.
And I just remember going out to drinks with the cast after and being like, so great working with you. I feel so silly. I've never seen Mad Men, and I hear it's just like absolutely the best show on TV.
Yeah.
And you just won the SAG award, and I just can't wait to watch it now. And she was like, I hope this is not an inappropriate story to tell. I think this is what she said. She said, have you seen Friday Night Lights? And I was like, no. She was like, watch that first.
Okay.
And I was like, are you in that? She was like, no. But it is the best show on TV. And I was like, okay,
she's
you're just
so
like a huge
funny.
She's
She's
like,
so
I'm just saying. She's
cool.
like, if you love good TV, you have to watch Friday Night Lights, but then watch Mad Men. And I was like, okay, Elizabeth Moss. So I did. I watched both incredible shows. Mad Men's actually probably my favorite show of all time.
Yes.
But yeah, I just thought that was a nice kind of humble moment of someone
Yes,
just
way
being
to
like,
say
yeah,
that.
see my show, but also like,
Right, check this one out
here's
because
my
it's
opinions,
really cool.
Yeah, which I liked.
She's so cool. I loved her in It's gonna be silly, but get him to the Greek.
saw Get Him to the Greek. I didn't know she was in it.
She was. I mean, she was in there. It was way beginning, way before the role that she just
Handmaid's Tale.
Yes, that most recent one. Yeah, of course.
One of the characters I did for my SNL audition last year was Elizabeth Moss in Handmaid's Tale, which was just close up of just blood, of just
right.
Just like every
pure
scene,
terror,
just,
sheer panic,
constantly.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah,
that's crazy. Wow.
Yeah.
So, what got you into acting?
Well, I come from a long line.
I was gonna say, can I be the one to say it?
Yeah, sure.
So she is the great-great-granddaughter to Harry Warner, which is the eldest of the Warner brothers. So have you guys ever heard of this company? I don't know. This is some production company. I think it's called Warner Brothers. I don't know. They may have a lot.
They're
they
pretty
may
up
not.
and coming.
They may have
Yeah. Keep an eye out.
Right.
Okay.
You might. I don't know.
I have a
we'll
funny
see
story.
where they go.
Then. I was shooting Two Broke Girls.
Okay. Oh.
And then they separate us to give us like a special clothes. It was like a 90s party. Then they pick me to give me some clothes. And, I watched Looney Tunes and, the Warner Bros. Like the water box. And I was sitting there and then I walked like the water, how do you call that? The water...
The water tower?
Yeah, the water tower.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, the water tower. Right. Yeah,
There is the
famous.
water tower that really exists. And it was like, I'm here.
Actually,
I came from the third world country and I'm here.
And now you're here.
That was such a nice moment.
Crazy. That water tower. That says it all.
I had never even been to Warner Brothers Studios until December of last year when it was the 100-year anniversary of the studio, and there was a celebration. They invited the whole Warner family to come on a tour.
Of course.
And, like, come see it. I was just sobbing the whole time. I was like, this is amazing. My family's so cool. Like,
Your family is so freaking cool.
My great-great-grandfather was Harry Warner. His daughter married Mervyn LeRoy, who produced Wizard of Oz and directed Gypsy and $1 Million Mermaid and A Fugitive from a Chain Gang, and the list goes on and on. Wow. And his son, my grandfather, was Warner LeRoy. So speaking of restaurants, he owned Tavern on the Green and Russian Tea Room and Maxwell's Plum, which now my Aunt Jenny has just launched in Florida.
Oh, wow.
And then on the other side of my family, my grandpa, Tony Walton, who I lived with, was a very prolific scenic designer and ultimately director. So I got to go see so many Broadway shows as a kid, and I was just like immersed in that world. Wow. And I don't know, my grandparents tell a story of like me going to the circus with them, and I was like wearing a sweater that was like way too big for me, and it was all floppy, and there were like these clowns performing, and I just walked over and like did what they did, and everyone was like, "Oh, it's a baby clown!" And my grandparents were like, "Where did Georgia go?" And I was like, "Baby clown, hey, right in."
Hello,
so,
my baby. Hello, my baby.
Right time, girl. So I think people ask, like, why did you decide to be an actor? I'm like, by the time I realized there were other career options, I was too deep in.
It was too late.
I was just already on my way. So, so I don't know, being part of that, so much of my family is involved in theater and film, but not as actors necessarily. My mom was for a minute, but she was mostly a screenwriter. Okay. My dad was a sound designer.
Got it.
My grandmother was a playwright. My grandfather was a scenic designer. So,
behind
I had
the
all
scenes.
these different, and then...
And what do you prefer? You prefer behind the scenes?
No, she's a spotlight. You can't tell.
A little bit of both. I love writing.
Oh, yeah, that's true, too.
And
director.
Yeah,
And
director and writer. And acting coach.
I mean, yeah.
Hello.
Yeah.
What technique do you think
Just
speaks?
thinking.
She's like, oh my God, all these accolades. I'm exhausted.
Yeah. I called my mom on the way here. I was like, I'm about to do a podcast. And I don't know. I was like, what do you do when someone wants to know what you do? And she's like, panic. Because this is like, when you're the entrepreneurial spirit, you just do all the things.
Right.
Then it's like,
the jack of
I
all
was
trades.
on my way here being like, oh, right. And that's another thing I do. Like, do parody videos and songwriting lyrics. That's like,
Yes.
Wherever the flow takes me.
I love that.
Yeah.
God bless America.
Right? And all your talents and all of your, where you came from. It just, how can you not do what you do after all of the support and your family. It's just like it flowed right into your life, you know,
in many
who
ways.
you are.
I mean, I think a lot of it was just, it's nurture more than nature. Like, I don't think, talent is blood transferable, whatever, and it can come from anywhere. But I do think I feel like I was very lucky to be exposed to collaboration at its highest form, you know what I mean? At just being in a room with successful people without egos who are saying, the best idea wins. What do you got? What do you think? Who wants to chime in, and just kind of
not the nepotism, but more of who you're individual, like what do you have to bring to the table? Like what is your true talent? Because there's something, individual about us. I mean, of course, what makes us us. So that's so good.
Yeah, I think it's, people in my family in the arts have always said, like, true power is making other people feel powerful. Like, I was just lucky to grow up in the family I did, regardless of accolades, just like they are people who like to lift people up and create a safe space and a creative environment. So I'm glad that I just kind of learned that through observation.
Heck yeah.
And now, I feel like I probably get my greatest sense of purpose from acting coaching and directing. And I just, it's all fine and well to move people with a performance, but to bring something out of someone that they didn't know that they were capable of.
I bet.
I
bet. It's just magical.
I love when someone I've taught acting classes in New York for a while and on Zoom, and hopefully will again here soon,
yes,
I think.
absolutely.
But
you got this in between your schedule.
Of course, right? Sometimes I would recycle scenes, I'd give, if there's scenes I really love or monologues. And there's nothing better than when someone makes me cry with a scene that I know every word of, or a monologue I know. I'm like, I've just never heard it that way
they
before.
Extracted something in that. Yes, I love it.
So fun, yeah.
Is there any particular acting styles or coaches that we have? Lee Strasberg, Meisner, Stella Adler. Is there any of them? Ivana Chubik, actually, more recently.
That I'm drawn to, you mean?
Yeah, or do you get that inspired you, or that you feel like is the biggest tool in having someone, you extracting whatever it is that you can get out of them? Is there any specific technique?
So I think of acting techniques as a spice rack.
Oh, I love it.
The class that I teach often on audition technique is called the Seasoned Actor Workshop.
Oh,
not
I
because
like that.
not because I need you to be a seasoned actor to take it, but because I will season you like a chef seasoning a dish, right?
I love that.
First you got to taste it, you got to see what's missing, what it needs, you know what I mean? If it already is a little too sweet, then we're not going to add the sugar. If it's already a little too salty, we're not going to add the salt. If it's a little bland, it needs a little salt. So I think, for instance, if there's an actor who is very cerebral, who has really mapped out their circumstances, but they're not listening, then we're going to sprinkle a little Meisner in. We're going to get them in touch with their instincts, you know what I mean? And the same, if there's someone who is listening but kind of boxed in, maybe we'll add some Michael Chekhov. Maybe we'll do some psychological gesture. We'll get you in your body. You know what I mean? So I'm familiar with many acting techniques, certainly not all of them, but having studied a very long time, it's cool to kind of have this little toolkit, spice rack where I can go, this is what this actor needs more of, specifically based on what they're giving. And also I have my own, my own
your
my
own
own
flavor
technique,
and style.
kind of. Yeah,
exactly.
that I
And
think
where
is
did you
useful.
study in New York?
In New York, where did I study in New York? Gosh, I've mostly individual coaches over time. I was studying with, Peter Kelly and Joan Rosenfels and Delphi Harrington. I'm trying to think. I've been in and out of a ton of studios over time. I was a T. Schreiber for a minute, and I majored in acting in college. I went to a performing arts high school. I was in acting summer camp every summer. I was training with a coach since I was 8. So I've always been
all the things.
all the things, all the acting things.
That's bomb. My question to you, this is a kind of just a personal, what your personal thoughts are, as far as getting into those roles and being able to come out of them in a safe way because of Heath Ledger. You
Oof.
know, that's what I thought of. Like, wow, when we get so immersed in a role, you know, and it just kind of gets dangerous. What is your advice? And where's the fine line between those, you know, separating Heath Ledger from the Joker?
That's a really good question.
Thank you.
I think, or we think of Vivian Leigh kind of spiraling into Blanche
Yep.
Dubois or whatever.
Yep.
I do not like to trick myself into the reality of my character's experience. I like to keep a distance as much as I can. I will say, this is a can of worms, but I think we're in this era right now where authenticity in casting is incredibly important. Or I should say representation is very important, right? Mm-hmm. And I think sometimes the industry right now conflates representation with authenticity. Mm-hmm. I do not need to have lost a child to play a woman who has lost a child.
There you go.
That might not be healthy for me. And
Correct.
so sometimes I'll find myself, I'm Jewish. I guess it would be weird if I weren't for all the Holocaust plays I've done and stuff like that.
Right.
I said to someone recently, I'm like, you know what's crazy? I was like, I have auditioned for and played more Jewish characters in the last 2 years than the 15 years before that combined. And someone said, that's crazy. Are you Jewish? And I'm like, wouldn't it be weird if I weren't? That would be so weird. Anyway, but this to say, like, when I was doing the workshop of The Pianist, the year before we actually did it with Santino
stuff.
Fontana was playing Vladek Spielman.
Oh, wow.
It was an incredible experience. We had the son of the actual pianist, Vladek Spielman, with us, the grandchildren of the Nazi who saved his life. It was very affecting. And I was having a very hard time shaking off this experience every day because it was very much like, generational trauma or whatever. Or like,
Exactly.
if I had been in this character's circumstance, I would have died the way she did. You know what I mean?
And that's so surreal. Yeah.
I was just kind of thinking about it because I ended up actually replacing an actress in the workshop, and then I went on to do the production. The actress I replaced was not Jewish.
Okay.
And that's not like why she left the production or whatever,
Right,
but it
but-
got me thinking. I'm
right.
like, she's a good actress. I bet people watching really thought that she was just breaking down. And maybe she was, but I doubt it stuck with her the same way. So while on one hand, I'm like, yeah, it's great to see like roles for Jewish actors, roles for Jewish characters played by Jewish actors.
Right.
On the other hand, I'm like, kind of like I was just saying, I don't know that I need a person playing a heroin addict
Right.
to have suffered through heroin addiction.
Right.
It's almost distracting to me. So
Right.
I think this is an industry of pretend, of, being evocative, evoking imagination.
Absolutely.
I think
Your
it is-
interpretation of it, as
Yeah.
well.
And
Mhm,
like,
for sure.
I also was a journalist for a while. So that
Yay!
I interviewed Brian Stokes Mitchell a few years ago, and we started talking about like about this sort of authenticity in this career, and he said that this is acting as an exercise in empathy, right? Like you have to put yourself in someone else's shoes. If you're only putting yourself in your own shoes, that doesn't let you grow as an artist.
It doesn't, right?
And
Because
that's-
you're limited. Yeah,
Right.
it's like that's not my experience. So how? Yeah,
But there's a
it's-
fine line between
Absolutely.
and I know I'm like off on a tangent now. Like there's also
No, I
a show
love
that
it.
I was working on a few years ago where I was playing a Jewish woman who was like devoutly religious, like Orthodox Jewish woman or whatever. And they were very excited to have a Jewish actress playing this role. I think personally that a very devout Christian actor probably has more in common with this character. Woo! Come back. Shh, stay. Probably has more in common with this character than I do because I'm not a religious person.
Right.
Like that's my
Right.
ethnic background or whatever. But
Got
like,
it.
so
Got
it's
it.
just interesting to be like, just because you share something in common with this character doesn't really tell us anything. You might have had a completely different emotional reaction in your own life than the
100%.
character did. So.
Yep.
It all is a slippery slope, and I've kind of diverged from what you asked about how to not get too wrapped up in the character. But I
No,
say,
but it's
like,
all good.
if
No,
a
it's all
character
relevant.
is triggering to you, you know what I mean? If you're like, this is gonna bring up a lot of my own shit, maybe don't play that part. There's
Yeah,
a lot of
maybe
roles
let's-
out there, like, or maybe I don't know. Work with a coach. Find a way that you don't have to.
You can disconnect.
Yeah.
Because I've taken numerous classes, right? And one of them was Tasha Smith, her lab. And
Tasha Smith sent me a cease and desist.
no, she did not.
Because
For what?
the seasoned actor workshop, I was advertising as T-Saw, the seasoned actor
T-Saw,
workshop,
because
and
this
she's
is
like,
her.
"That's mine," and I didn't even
hers.
know. So
Yeah.
now I do not teach
seasoned
T-Saw.
actor work. Oh,
I do
my
not.
God.
I teach the seasoned actor workshop, but we do not abbreviate it.
Right, don't abbreviate it. Yeah, no
Anyway,
acronyms.
sorry. So you're
That
working
is
with
so
Tasha Smith.
funny.
I know.
Oh,
So funny.
That's too funny. One of her coaches coached me. Well, I took one of his classes, and he basically, it was a lady. Like, we all take acting seriously, of course we do, right? But out of the scene, she'd still be in it, like just So he was like, "Okay, side note." He said, "Okay, when we say cut, cut."
Okay, let it go.
Cut that shit, okay? Like, let it go. You don't have to still be going. Nobody's watching you. You know,
Yeah.
like
When we say cut, cut.
yeah, cut. Okay, cut.
I'm gonna
it
use
out.
that with
Come
my
on,
daughter.
come
When
on.
I say cut, cut.
Teach her young. No, but literally, it was so funny because she was like still like all immersed, and we over here about like having coffee and stuff.
Like
and,
rats?
Yeah,
Like they weren't gonna do another take? They
No,
were just-
like it was literally the scene was over and we were over here drinking coffee and chilling, and she's just over there in the corner, like still just going through the motions. And it was
Wow.
like, okay, just a
Yes.
side
People
note, you
take a
guys.
different time.
It was hilarious. So
Well, it's
I,
like, I think I can't remember what the show was that it was like a famous old story, like Dustin Hoffman and Laurence Olivier were working together, and Dustin Hoffman was supposed to be like out of breath, so he was like running up and down stairs, and Olivier was like, "What are you doing?" And he was like, the character is supposed to be exhausted, and I believe the return quote was, "My dear boy, it's called acting."
right.
Like,
Hello. What are you doing? Right.
maybe,
I love that. My dear
know.
boy. It's called
My dear
acting.
boy.
Right. Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. So transitioning from New York to LA, was there any major culture shock in there for you?
More kale, more avocado,
More yoga.
more yoga. Less cockroaches, fewer cockroaches. Sorry.
I was about to say, depending on where you are.
Yeah,
No rats.
Son.
no rats.
Well, except for Hope Row.
Yeah, I mean, because I've been out here before, I kind of knew what I was expecting, and,
Okay,
and then
good.
like it was just.
But it changed it a lot, don't you think? Because
In
I've been
10
here like
years?
10
Like
years,
every
then
10
came back. I
years?
was like, oh.
Probably. I mean, it's still sunny.
Yeah, I know,
It's still,
right?
like,
The
it's
beach
just
was
nice.
still
There's
there.
still
Santa
beaches.
Monica's still there.
Yeah. So I don't know. I got a little claustrophobic in New York. I really thought that I would just like die in New York, like I was just
Yeah,
gonna be
never
there. It was
leave.
like,
Yeah.
And then one day, which happened to my mother too. Like one day, I was just like, get away from me. Like, I was
Right.
just
Yeah.
suddenly like everyone was like, I want space.
Right.
I want to like, I don't know.
Exactly. I love that.
Have some wingspan, and not everyone like
Right.
cramped up in my business.
Exactly.
So-
What was I going to tell? Oh, I'm sorry. It just left my mind while I'm
I have a
gathering my
question
thought. I
for
know,
you.
right? Oh, I got it, but go ahead.
Okay.
No, after you.
All right. So a lot of servers are actors. And for who is starting, even like in an older age, what's your advice?
For starting out acting,
Yes. Where do we start?
I want to be an actress.
then you are one.
Yes! Come on,
already
Georgia.
there. You're already there.
Come on, Georgia.
Well, it's a tough industry. It's a tough time. There is enough space for everyone who is individual. I see a lot of actors having a fun role, and they're like, this character has to be really interesting, so they try to kind of. I don't know. I think a lot of actors limit themselves because they don't think that they themselves are interesting enough or unique enough. And I just think like all you really have to bring is your own unique perspective, right? So even through the lens of a character, like the reason it's going to go to you is because no one can do what you can do.
Exactly.
You know what
I
I
was
mean?
about
No
to say
one-
there's only one you.
Right.
Yep.
And so like,
It's
an
the only thing we got going
ability,
for us.
everyone can be trained to have an ability to like, grieve in
Right.
front of the camera or, rage or be affected or be vulnerable. But the way that you feel those things is
It's
unique.
different. It's-
You know
it
what I
is
mean? The way
very.
that you as the character feel those things. And I think yeah, so if you're like, I want to be an actor, I have no idea where to start, I would take a class. I would sign up for, maybe audit a few classes. I'm currently taking classes at Georgia Studios, which I think is great so far. I've only been there for like 2 months. But I wanted to get back in it. I always think it's great to just have someone holding you accountable, especially if you're holding other people accountable, I have found that like once you get representation, or once you start getting in rooms, I'm just a big proponent of taking risks. I think casting directors often, I think a lot of actors are like, how do I give them what they want, what they're looking for? They don't know what they want. They don't know what they're looking for. They have like some big idea. They want you to solve the problem.
Materialize
for them, right?
that exactly.
So I think
whatever their vision is. Yeah.
I think that making bold choices, taking big risks,
follow directions.
it can pay off sometimes. Sometimes it can be very embarrassing, but it's worth the, you know what I mean? It's worth the...
I've embarrassed myself plenty of time just doing way too much. Like, what the hell was I thinking?
I don't know. Huh?
Okay, so before I lose my thought, because I'm a squirrel, like my attention, like, look at the time. Okay, is there ever, because I always felt like you got the skill, right? After I go to your class and I take your class, let's say I take your class for 6 months.
Great.
In that 6 months, is there ever a graduation period? Do you ever know all that you need to know? Is there like you got it or you don't? Like therapy, for example. Am I ever fixed? Or do I ever, do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, is there ever an end goal? Or do I need, like, I felt like for myself, okay, so I was taught this technique and it's working. And as long as you're doing, working, if you're a working actor, you're getting all these roles and stuff. Okay, do I still need an acting coach? Or is there something like, why? Is there ever a graduation period? Do we ever, like, is Denzel done with acting coaching? You know what I'm saying?
I mean, that's a question for Denzel, but I'm gonna say
Right.
no. I mean, there's always like
room for improvement.
there's always more to learn. Like you can take the same class in anything over and over, and you're always going to learn something new. Probably,
Very true.
But is it necessary to continue to be like at a certain point? I think when you're starting off and you really don't have that technique, and you just look at a scene, you're like, I don't know what to start with. I don't know if I start with just like what am I doing here? And you're watching yourself instead of living through yourself.
Right.
I think it's very valuable to have someone kind of guiding you. And I think once you kind of get the, it's kind of almost like working with a personal trainer in a gym. You know what I mean?
That's what I was thinking too.
Like
it's all
once
kind
you
of
know how to do it,
relative.
once you can look at yourself in the mirror and be like, okay, is my core tight? Like, am I doing the stuff? But then maybe there's a new exercise being introduced you've never done before. So you want to reach out to your trainer and be like, so I've never done this with a barbell before. I've only done it with dumbbells. How do I do that? Same thing with acting. Okay. So I've never done murder in a comedy before. I've only done it in a drama, and I'm worried I'm gonna get too dramatic. And how do I find the humor in it?
Very true.
New challenges are gonna come up, and we're gonna want to explore.
And some of the big actors,
brilliant.
they have a coach for a specific movie. When they're casted, then they call the coach for that character.
That's what I
specific.
thought. Okay.
Then
that's
they have
what
a
I thought.
break and then go to the next one. Then they get the coach to work.
I actually just
script.
worked as an
love that.
on-set acting coach for the first time this
Did
year,
you?
which was
Did
really
you?
good. Yeah, in a film that my boyfriend directed.
Oh, come on, boyfriend. I was going to
Shout
ask,
out
so she's
to
not
Mr.
single. Sorry, guys. And the Sun Gals, too.
Yeah, my wonderful partner Justin, who is also a brilliant headshot photographer. I meant to mention like that, talking about starting out, having that calling card, having a good headshot that like
everything.
represents what you are bringing to the table is so important, because if you're not getting in the room, it doesn't matter how good you are. You know what I mean?
If you're not even getting booked because they're looking.
Yeah. But that was specific because he was starring in the film and directing it, and wanted someone there to kind of hold him accountable while he's watching other people who's going to watch him, sort of thing.
Exactly.
But I think oftentimes having an on-set coach, or I'm also right now coaching a woman on her character in a play that is being directed by someone else, but she wants private, like, digging in a little more. And I just, I think there's
always room
if you
for
have the
improvement.
means, like,
Right.
there, it's never gonna hurt to have someone. You know, when I coach,
Guiding you.
I'm sorry,
Guiding you.
yeah, guiding you, and like, you know, much like a therapist or whatever. I think when I coach, I really try not to be directorial unless, like, you know, it's a huge audition and we've got 15 minutes, and I might be like, "Do you want my opinion? I'll give it to you."
Right,
But for the
of
most
course.
part, what I'm trying to do is just figure out what questions aren't being asked and get you to answer those questions for yourself. You know, identify what the missing pieces are and then get you to fill in the blanks. I'm not trying to volunteer an opinion, a perspective.
Right, because then it would be you
necessarily.
acting instead of
I'm just
right.
trying to figure out, like, it's unclear to me how you feel about this person you're talking about. You know, here's a platter of options. Maybe do you like them? Are you jealous of them? Do you love you? Whatever. And then, you know, is there someone in your life that you could think of?
Right,
I
that
don't
you
know,
can
that
place.
kind of stuff. And I'm just, lobbing it to you. You fill in the blanks and stuff, which is not necessarily the same thing that a director does, even though I also love directing. And that's a separate skill set, though, with some crossover.
Yes.
But I think a lot of times directors, I think particularly, I hope I don't eat my words here, but particularly West Coast directors are very, like, cinematography oriented and are like a lot, you know, a huge character in it is the camera and the storytelling, and actors can sometimes be props to a certain extent. Like, I
Right.
trust you to do this, but I'm hiring. And so if you are not versed.
Like Dean John Malkovich. That's the first thing I thought of.
What about it?
Nothing. Just about
being
just the cinematography of it all, and then
Sure.
yeah.
But you have an actor like John Malkovich, like, you know,
I
just
mean, come
absolutely
on, man.
brilliant.
Come
but you
on.
get you get these directors who just don't speak actor.
Mm-hmm.
Oftentimes, sometimes they do, and that's really great. But if you know, if you're getting someone who's just going, you know, I need more. I need
Right.
more.
I know, but it's
more
like you're not
what? More,
elaborating
I don't know
on
what that
what.
means,
Yeah.
or, you know.
Right.
You know, I had a director once, I saw a co-star of mine, he said, like, "Can you have a single tear drip down on
Like
this line?"
one
And he
tear?
was like, "No." Like,
Absolutely
what?
not.
No, like, that's not, I mean,
What? I know.
maybe.
One tear just kind of ding.
But, you know, but directors oftentimes are trying to ask for the end product. Like, here's where I need you to arrive. And they're
Right.
not guiding how you get to
The
that
journey.
destination.
Exactly.
And that's where I come in.
Yes, and
to
I
be
love
like a little
that.
translator and be like, so I think what they're saying is, you know,
Yeah. What
So.
he's trying to say.
Yeah.
I love that, Georgia.
I got this.
Right.
And I was like,
Exactly.
Yeah.
Just give us a second. Huh?
No,
Who's your
with
favorite
humility.
director? Who would you say?
Favorite director?
Yeah.
Like that I've worked with, or like
I
in
mean,
the world?
Just
In the
like
world.
who you got inspired by. You know what? Like I loved
I love Spielberg.
Spielberg.
Yeah, that's my favorite.
Quentin Tarantino, I think, would have to
Oh,
be
yeah.
mine. Only because I like his films. Oh,
Django
also Oliver
Unchained is-
Stone. Oliver Stone. He did Juliette Lewis and Natural Born Killers.
I love Juliette
I
Lewis.
know, so I'm telling my age, but
Directors, I mean,
already I think I mean, if you ever go back and watch that as an adult, freaking Natural Born Killers, the cinema, like you that.
Yeah.
In the story, and it was an amazing movie. Tommy Lee Jones, like, come on, man,
so
like
many movies I still need to
freaking
see.
Robert Downey Jr. Like those were heavy. Like that
mean,
movie is crazy
I
good.
used to be kind of a film buff, and now I'm just.
I know,
a
she's like, I'm in it
TV.
too much.
No,
Oh,
God, not at all.
TV.
Just TV. Like I am
TV.
such
Series.
a TV buff. Like that, I love. So I mean, I would say like Vince
Series or
Gilligan or
reality
something
show?
like
Okay,
that.
got it.
You know,
Yeah,
but
I got it.
you know, I
got it.
love a fun twist. I love like a Chris Nolan angle kind
Okay.
of thing. He's probably
Yeah,
not
yeah,
my
yeah.
favorite director,
Yeah.
but like there's also a lot of theater directors that I really revere, and I've certainly done more theater directing than film
Of
directing.
course, yeah.
But like, yeah,
Come on,
I mean,
Broadway.
like Sam Gold and
What
I
has
got
he
to work
done?
with Jack O'Brien, which was pretty cool, and I love his work. And directors, I think I'm drawn to directors and actors who either like have a wide range of style or who like kind of find a niche and then like betray that, and like then you get to see this horror director direct this rom-com, or you get to see this like I love people with
that switch it up.
yeah, it's just a dynamic kind
I
of
love that.
Yeah.
Like that reminds me of just Jack Burns in any other, like in Meet the Parents. Robert De Niro playing that Jack Burns.
yeah, exactly.
Because he was never, you'll never look at him and be like, oh, he's
comedy
hilarious.
guy, yeah.
right,
And he's freaking hilarious in the
Yeah.
driest of ways. Like,
Absolutely.
I mean, and that's what
or like Dirty Grandpa.
Right. Oh, yes. That as well.
That is a funny movie.
That is. It is.
Yeah,
It
but I
is.
love-
Shout out to him.
It's
But
cool, yeah, when you see like, actors who are known for drama do comedy, or I think kind of less common, but comedic actors, like, when you first think of like how Eddie Murphy and Robin Williams started transitioning into those serious roles, how
what was it, the photo, what was that with Robin Williams when he played that psycho in the movie where he was like developing films and stuff? I forgot.
gosh, I don't
like
know.
a photo. Oh, I'll look it up.
Yeah, I'll look it up.
Thank
right
you,
here.
Mark.
Is it Be Kind
Say
and
hi,
Rewind, or is
Mark.
that Hey everybody?
Hi, Mark.
Oh, hi, Mark.
Next day photo, or was it
Yes.
something like that, right? Let me
Yes,
see.
yes, exactly. You know what
Haven't
I'm
seen
talking
it.
about. Yes.
But
he
you know,
was
he's-
crazy though.
well,
he
he
went from
started-
Mrs. Doubtfire to that.
right. I mean, well, he started as a stand-up.
1
you know
hour
what I
photo.
mean?
1
As
hour
did-
photo.
Yep. Yeah.
As did you get these comedians though who I mean, or like, gosh, have you seen Skeleton Twins?
No.
It's
I saw the
it's
skeleton key.
cool, not the same. No, it's Kristen Wiig and Bill Hader.
Oh no.
Who, of course,
I
now
haven't.
Bill Hader, Barry is so known and he's so
Right,
wonderful. But
exactly.
before that, they were pretty much like clowns. Like
Mm.
they were just known for being like comedy clowns. They did this like
Like the
serious
Wilson brothers.
movie.
Or, yeah. Mhm.
Yeah, I love actors who. It's not like I think every actor needs to be able to do all the things, but I greatly, as someone who identifies as somewhat chameleonic, to my benefit and detriment sometimes, I respect people who can kind of adapt into different styles
how hard
and
it
still be
is and-
honest. You
Heck
know?
yeah. Heck yeah. Because
If
I
you
want all
could-
those flavors. Go
Oh, sorry. If you could remake a move as a director, which one would be?
Ooh, well, I guess it would probably have to be something that's like dated enough that people are like, I can't get into it because it's too old, like
Right.
to kind of modernize.
Like Gone with the
there's-
Wind or like Titanic, like how old?
I mean, yeah, like,
We talking
old?
Titanic?
I feel
Or
so
we
old
talking
right
like
now.
Gone with the Wind, you know?
yeah, I mean,
Anyone.
Like how old are we going? No, I'm kidding.
I think something like. God, like any kind of perfect
Taxi.
black and white film, or like,
Oh.
It's a
Black and
Wonderful
white.
Life or something. It's like it's perfection. You don't want to mess with perfection, but at the same time, some people are like, I don't want to go on this journey because it's black and white. And it's
Right.
like, okay, so maybe there's a way to update it, but I don't
Yeah.
know. I don't.
Bring like a new, like just the 2024 version
Or
of.
oh, you know what?
What?
I don't know. I'm like obsessed with The Crucible. I have
Oh,
been for
okay.
ages, and this is like a super hot take, but I do not love Daniel Day-Lewis's performance in that movie.
Really?
I'm sure it's a fine performance. I don't
Yeah.
think it's a great representation of that character within that story. And I think because that is so many people's experience with The Crucible, they're just like, yeah, it's not really for me. But I would love to do it with
remake that.
someone who I think
Who
really.
would you choose?
Oh,
Today's
man, in
actor.
today's day and age, I'd
Yeah.
really have to. I don't want to fire some. I'd have to really think about
Oh,
it. But if
okay.
it
I
comes
love
to me,
that.
I'll let you know.
Oh,
yeah.
I love that. Good.
It's
Exactly.
specific,
You
you
gotta pause
know?
the question.
I mean, I can.
I
it's
love that.
Got to be someone who.
Would speak to that
'Cause
role.
this is so specific, just like for anyone who has seen that movie. But it's like he is so angry and bitter at the beginning of it that there's just really nowhere for him to go, and it just I don't understand why this like hot 17-year-old girl is like obsessed with this guy who's like so self-pitying and grouchy.
Right,
So
right.
I would want someone who has kind of like an electricity about them, who is, I don't know, just really charismatic, but also like, I don't know. So if anyone comes to your mind, it's like
I know. I was trying to think of it as you're saying.
tweet
I'm
at
like,
us. Who's the perfect John Proctor?
I know.
Let us know in the comments.
I know. Yes. Exactly. Let us know. I know. I'm
Take a
actually,
poll.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm excited about that. Are there any charities that speak to you? Because we serve with purpose.
Yes.
You know, we're both servers, and we both, you know, my particular foundation that is to my heart is my Friend's House Foundation. And we, every single Wednesday, actually, today is Wednesday, I know, but you'll be watching this on Tuesday. But,
or any day.
yeah, on any day, right? I know that's right. All day, every day. How about that? So I go down, we volunteer. We set up a station. We have clothes, donations that you could place where you can donate clothes, hot food, canned goods, all the good stuff, prayer, hugs, all that good stuff. And Carolina works with
Comfort Cases, it's an organization that works with foster kids. Instead of they go with the trash bags, they give them backpacks and teddy bears and
pajamas,
so they feel loved and wanted.
Mm-hmm.
There's any
Lovely.
organization you like?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a big fan of the ACLU. You know, that's kind of my go-to.
Okay.
I think, I don't know, I've been donating and sharing a lot for like aid in Palestine recently and stuff like that. But I think, from my understanding, the ACLU kind of just like goes where it's needed.
Yes.
You know, in the most,
and they allocate
just
the
as
funds
far as
and,
as
and
far
the
as just
resources.
equality and opportunity, and
Love
so
that.
yeah, that's my favorite. You know,
are
equal
so-
rights and stuff. And stuff.
Equal rights,
Yeah.
girl power. I love that.
Yeah.
Do you have any other questions?
Yeah, they say they are donating for Palestine, you said?
Yeah, for the children's aid relief and stuff like that.
And you're Jewish.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I know.
I mean, I don't know. Is there, like, I want all the children to be safe.
Let's all
Israel
the
is
kids.
getting enough support from the U.S. right now. I don't want to get like too political
Yeah,
about
I
these
know.
things, but
I
I
know.
just
But that's amazing
I
that
love
you
it.
can see the Palestine
I
kids
know.
and people.
That is
kids are
so-
kids,
And the
man.
Israeli
You know,
Thank
I
you.
get
Poor
emotional. I can't
people.
think.
I
too.
know. Look, oh, you're gonna
Sorry.
make me emotional. Your heart is huge, and I love that, Georgia. For real, that is so that's really heartfelt. Just you speaking recently, I went and I read a book, and it's called The Artist's Date. And so in that book, they teach about kind of like self-love, self-care, and how you are just supposed to spend some me time, you know, without anyone else. It could be
Are you
doing
talking about
anything.
The Artist's Way?
Was
By
it The
Julia
Artist's
Cameron?
Way?
The Artist's Way
The
that
Artist's Way.
teaches artist
Dates.
dates. Yes.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Thank you.
It's a
for
great
that.
book.
It is. And my friend Gabby, she recommended it to me, who is also Jewish. It's so funny. So when I did my artist date, I went to the Museum of Tolerance.
Oh, wow.
All by myself. I've been meaning to go forever. And I went. And I'm here to tell you that it's life-changing, you know,
Where is it?
because it's right here on Wilshire.
Really?
Promise.
Okay, I'm gonna
Yep.
check it
The
out.
Museum of Tolerance. My God, you go there. That's how I learned, the true story of Anne Frank when you brought her up. And I was like, dang, you know, just seeing all of the exhibits
Yeah.
and what the concentration camps and just the everything that was involved in that time period. It was insane. And for me, I thought dang, you know, I was like, you know, you just only think about your people. As far as me, I was like slavery, of course, you know, that was terrible. Yay! Our special guest.
She's like, it's getting too serious.
I know.
up
And
here.
he said, let's talk about all this. It's too stuffy.
Let's save the cats.
I know. Let's save the cats. So it was just eye-opening, and just it actually educated me a lot on things that I just didn't even know. You know what I mean? And just the experience, and it made me have such a greater appreciation for what everyone went through. So yeah, I think anyone who hasn't visited the Museum of Tolerance should do so, because it's going to educate you and give you a whole nother, you know, love and exactly. Because I only thought, you know, my experience has just been 400 years of slavery. You know what I mean? But then it's like, of course, we heard the Holocaust, but we didn't know and how long and to what extent and what happened. So just educating yourself. And
It's
it will
funny.
just, tolerance is something that will come from education.
This is a weird story that just came into my mind.
love
but,
it. Tell me.
I was at a party, and there was a chick I didn't know, beautiful young black woman, and we happened to be talking about like escape rooms, I think, and I was saying like, oh, I went to this one, you know, escape room in Philly with my family, and I was like, it was just like it was very ghetto. And she was like, it was what? And I was like, it was not like well funded. It was very like kind of trashy and janky. And she was like, it's not okay for you to say that word. And I said, why? And she said, well, because that's offensive to like black people who like grew up in ghettos and stuff. And I was like, well, I'm Jewish. And she was like, what does that have to do with it? And I was like,
a minority.
I was like, the Warsaw ghetto, like the biggest ghetto. And she was like, that's interesting. And I was like, well, I think initially she was like, well, were black people running it? And I was like, no, honestly, they're all white. And she was like, so then what made it? I don't know. But we got into this conversation about like, it's interesting that, you know, I of course that would be the go-to, like, yes, about like black ghettos. But in my mind,
you were thinking something
Jewish
totally
ghettos.
right.
Anyway, she and I got to talking, and then we went to a drag show together, and then she slept on my couch and then became one of my closest friends. But literally our first exchange was just like,
y'all checking
whose
each other.
word
Yeah,
is this?
exactly.
And is it okay but it is just to the point of like, we only have our own, you know.
Hello.
We only have our own experience unless we put the time in to learn about other people's experiences.
And that was my whole point. Was I would have never known. Like, I was just so, I only looked at life through, you know, with my folks, and I'm like, oh, we were so oppressed, and we still are going through oppression to this day, and this and that and the third. But then when you take a look outside yourself and look at other cultures and look at what they've been through and all of that, it just makes you appreciate life and just, you know, the human race. So yay, shout out,
Stuff.
deep stuff.
Deep stuff.
I know. I'm gonna
Bonding.
lighten it up. Like, oh my gosh. So is there any
So where people can see you now?
Right now? Well,
Yes.
right now I
Here.
am playing Stella the scientist in the Lunar Light Discovery, which is super fun. I'm doing it 5 days a week. It's unlike anything I've ever done before from an acting perspective, really. I mean, I've directed immersive theater, directed Lighthouse, an immersive drinking musical off Broadway last year.
I love that. Come on, immersive.
This I'm in as an actor, and it's wild. It's like you have these from the outside just look like massive shipping containers. On the inside, you're put in VR, and you are literally on the surface of the moon. It's like super high tech VR.
Whoa.
So you show up, and you're told you're a mission specialist, and you're given your mission that an asteroid has hit the moon. It's the year 2055, and only you can save the moon. So you show up with a group or whatever. And there's, you know, you got to like mine this material, and then you come to the lab where Stella, the mad scientist who has not been allowed to leave the lab for many weeks and is so excited.
Tom's cabin and she's freaking losing it.
So it's like,
right, The Shining, right?
I have a sidekick who's a robot. His name is Deej. She's amazing.
Oh,
and so
and you
basically
love him.
I love him.
Do you guys like
I
mess
love
around?
Deej.
Because that's your only.
I have a boyfriend.
I'm like, you're in
That's
orbit.
so funny.
Look, you're in orbit.
Yeah, no, there's Stella has kind of a love-hate thing with Jen
Different
Jack,
planets,
the
isn't
drunk astronaut on the team.
Okay.
Anyway, point is, it's very improv based. It's very just like kind of messing with people who are there and just
that's
kind of
fun.
getting to come up with bits and kind of save them and reuse them or ditch them and just kind of build a.
Now, speaking of that, it just brings, like, real quick, because we're almost wrapping up. Like, this time is freaking flying by.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm like, dang. How does it work when because you're in a relationship, you're an acting coach, you're around tons of hot people, guys and girls, all the time. How does that work out in your relationship? Like, it's so cute to say, oh, it's all professional, but F that. I mean, but when it comes down to really, really, you know, thinking about it, like, does boyfriend ever get jealous, or would you ever get a little jealous, or where does it, you know, like going into scenes and stuff, like, let's just be real, because people always give the PG, you know, or the politically correct answers, PC, actually, not PG-13. But
I'm going to be really, really honest, and I hope it's okay to be really honest about this.
Please.
Everyone, in my opinion, everyone should read the book The Ethical Slut.
Oh, come on now.
It is an exploration in ethical non-monogamy, polyamory, combating jealousy, communication within a partnership. it really changed my perspective on like dating and relationships.
The ethical slut. Oh, I'm on it.
The ethical slut. It's really incredible.
Actually,
And
do that in my
right
Audible.
now.
Yeah, I'm
It's
gonna
really
have
good.
7 credits
But
for my Audible.
No,
so
I
that's one of
mean,
them.
I don't know how it. I know that there are some actors like who are in relationships who really struggle with the jealousy of if
Heck
you're
yeah.
doing this with
I'm
someone
that.
else.
I'm that girl.
My partner and I are not. We're just not jealous that way.
I
Like
love
there's a lot
it.
of mutual trust. It's like, okay, I hope that was fun. I hope you got something out of it. Now it's our turn to be together.
Yes.
And,
Oh,
you know,
you're
I don't
so
know.
good.
So
oh yeah,
that's my journey. Which, by the way, actually, speaking of my incredible partner Justin Powell, who's an amazing headshot
Come on,
photographer
Justin
at
Powell.
MRP
Yeah.
Plus, he and I are in the process of actually opening a joint acting studio in Los Angeles, which I'm very excited about, with his skills as a photographer, with lighting and cinematography and that kind of thing. My skills as a coach, his skills as a coach, and then both of our skills as an actor, because he's a brilliant actor. Like, we're hoping that we can have a
Edward
kind of
Norton.
one-stop shop where, I'm sorry? What?
Looks like Edward Norton.
A little bit.
He looks like Edward Norton. He does.
A little bit. He's hotter. He's way hotter than Edward Norton. But
An American History X.
yeah. but we want
Actually,
to
that was my favorite
we wanna
role.
do
Believe
this-
it or not.
really more than Fight Club.
More. It is. I know. I'm sorry.
What about Death to Smoochie? I'm just kidding. But anyway, so he and I we're in the early stages of launching a studio where if your scene is with a male actor, he's your reader, I'm your coach. If it's with a female actor, I'm
Thank
your reader,
you.
he's your coach.
I
So
love
you'll
that.
always have a professional actor reading with you,
There
a
you go.
professional coach and director working with you,
Love that.
high-tech lighting, all that kind of stuff. So if you want to do classes with us, do self-tapes with us, hang out, that'll all be posted or whatever. But my current coaching website for like classes and everything is georgiawanerstudios.com. So if
Okay.
you get on that mailing list, you'll be updated about when the new studio launches, which hopefully will be sometime next year.
Oh, I love
Yeah.
that.
Very excited.
Congratulations
Thank
to
you.
you and Josh.
We'll be there.
Justin Powell. Look, good night.
on to the
Good night.
phone,
I know. Good night. I obviously have a timer up here.
So funny.
It went off.
But yeah, just before I forget to do all like the linky stuff.
Yeah, no, yeah,
but
please.
Hey,
We're
what's your
gonna ask
Instagram?
that
Lunar
anyway.
Light- okay, well, that's the quickest way. Everything I do is very Georgia. Mm-hmm. My
That's her
Instagram
Instagram?
is very Georgia.
I love that.
My
You
Twitter,
are very Georgia.
very Georgia.
You're very
TikTok,
Georgia.
very Georgia. Venmo, very Georgia. Anyway, across the board.
Cash App.
Yeah, basically, very Georgia.
Very, very Georgia.
But yeah, I mean, I'll post links to everything on that. But for the Lunar Light experience, because that is such a fun thing to do with the group, I don't necessarily recommend showing up solo for that because you are the audience. Like who you bring, you're going through the experience. Like it's with.
Oh, okay. So it's interactive.
It's very interactive.
Oh, how
we can do
fun.
groups of up to 10 people at a time.
Oh, cute.
And I think the easiest way, like the most memorable link is backtospace.com. That will link you to the experience. That's like the parent company. But if you go to backtospace.com, you can learn more about the Lunar Light Discovery. It is such a fun, weird thing to do. There's also like an escape room element of it.
I was gonna ask that. I was like, when
yeah.
you said escape rooms earlier.
Yeah.
I was
Well,
thinking
I used to
of
work
the
in puzzle
interactive-
design in New York. One of my many, like, I've had so many insane, weird
I'm
jobs
like, how
in
the
the
heck will
creative
one get
sphere.
into puzzle design?
I was an associate enigmatologist.
Damn.
Yes, I
Oh, so
designed
you're smart as
interactive
F.
logic puzzles.
Smart as balls.
I'm one of them creative types.
You
I'm just
are.
generally
See?
creative.
I see.
You know.
Well, I'll say.
Well, I do declare. I do my stars and stripes.
Oh, look at her. She gave us a bit. So that's just a preview of what you got going on.
I live for the bit. Live for the bit. Commit to the bit. That's all I care about. Yeah.
We're the best. Wow. Well, congratulations.
Thank you
It sounds
so
like you have
much.
so much going on. You are such a well-rounded, interesting, like, just you're all the things.
Thank you
You're
very
all the
much.
things. You really are.
It
It was a pleasure sitting here
exhaust
talking to you.
myself, but I'm so glad that I'm just thrilled that you guys invited me on the show,
Of
and
course.
I'm really excited. I mean, LA has been a whirlwind. I also since I got out here, it's just been going, and I just shot 2 feature films that are coming out
Look at
soon.
that. Look at that.
Going to do a TV show, doing this Lunar Light Discovery,
Yes.
coaching, directing, it's all happening. So So yeah, follow me at Very Georgia, and I would love to continue to see what everyone's up to and hopefully collaborate with, bright minds and creative spirits. I think it's all about connection and sharing ideas and finding how we fit together and making great art.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh, well, thank you so much
Thank
for
you.
gracing us with your presence. Literally, we
a
have
pleasure.
Hollywood royalty sitting right here, honestly. She's so cute. She has on a teal blouse. She's adorable.
Yeah. Oh, and these are my space earrings that Justin got me
Oh,
for
I
the
love
opening of the Lunar Light
You
discovery.
are. Oh my goodness! And is that? Oh my!
Thank
Is it
you.
Mars?
Is it
Mars?
I'm an astronaut. I don't know. What is
No,
it?
that
I
must
think
be
it's Saturn.
Venus.
It's Saturn.
No,
Because
it's
the
Saturn because
rings,
that's a
the
ring.
rings, yeah.
I was thinking Venus had the ring, Saturn has the
Yeah.
ring. At least you know.
Oh wow, he got me a ring. It's just around a planet in my ear, but that's fine.
I love that. Are there any other plans, or we're just seeing where things go with Justin?
Oh, with Justin, plans. I don't know. We want to get out of town. We're both so freaking busy. I mean, because he's like, he coaches
Oh, you're
and then
thinking about a wedding.
What?
You're thinking about a
I know.
Who's thinking about a wedding? I'm thinking about like a night in Santa Barbara. Like a
Okay,
what?
right.
No,
She's
no.
like, what? I'm thinking of a bed and breakfast.
Yeah. I'm thinking
It's
of
so
like,
vain.
I'm thinking of
You're
like,
up here talking about wedding
yeah,
plans.
I'd like an hour at Venice
I just
Beach.
want to go to a wedding.
Yeah.
Please.
Right. We
Literally.
just want to get dressed and get drunk at a wedding. That's it. We just want to
I
get
mean,
dressed.
How about you?
Yeah. Yes.
We
well.
will maybe we'll host a wedding themed game night or something.
Yeah.
We're big into game nights.
Yes.
So,
I
that's-
love that. Game night is so much fun. What are your favorite games? Yahtzee.
Well, you
No.
know what's so funny is like I've never been a big D&D person.
Oh, okay.
Justin is very big into it, and my brother Bing is very big into it. And Bing got so excited when he found out that my partner is like a D&D person that my brother organized a like bros and hoes, like my brother and
Oh, I love it.
his partner, and then my other brother and his partner, and
Okay.
me and Justin are all now meeting once a week on Zoom
How
or whatever
fun.
the app is and doing D&D together.
Oh, very cute. I love that. No, educate
fun.
our audience, including myself, on what D&D is.
Dungeons and Dragons.
Oh my God! I was like, not the D&D, like from. I love that.
Dungeons
I
and Dragons,
love
doing a
that.
Candyland campaign.
Wow,
It's very silly.
Do you dress
and
up and
fun.
everything and do all that?
No.
Oh, okay.
In my mind,
like,
in my
this
mind,
is-
I do. No, but I love. I mean, like I said, I worked with puzzles and stuff, so like game nights are like my favorite thing. It's just the best way to bring people together.
It
you know?
is. Oh, you're one of those dead ass serious, huh? Like I'll be in the corner or on the balcony smoking a cigarette or something, and
like,
then you'll be like, "It's your turn."
Yeah,
and I'm
exactly.
like, I gotta go back. I'm like one of
No,
those.
it's all for fun, all for fun. But anyway,
Oh, how
Yeah.
fun. I love that. Okay, so let us know exactly again where we can find you just for the,
yes, you
So
can,
everything is very Georgia.
Yes, Very Georgia
Okay.
on YouTube. Also, like, we didn't even get into like parody stuff, but I
That's what
have
I was
like
gonna- yeah.
tons of like comedy parody videos
yes. Super
funny.
up on YouTube. Whenever Scroogleton. Yeah, if you are very high and you want to watch the weirdest thing you've ever seen, you can go to scroogleton.com and you can see a 40-minute one-man show that is just me doing the whole story of A Christmas Carol set rhyme for rhyme to the music of Hamilton.
Dang.
Real weird. I would call it manic breakdown inspired by COVID.
Okay.
I have never been more embarrassed by or proud of
Yes.
anything I've ever done. So come the holidays, it's Richard. Anyway, the point is all kinds of weird stuff. What's she gonna do today? Let's find out. Yeah, Very Georgia. That's where to track my shenanigans.
I love that. I love that. Oh, okay. Well, congratulations to you and the Lunar
Thank you
Experience
so much.
and
Yes.
everything that you got going on, and you have just been such a pleasure. You really, this time has flown by. So
Heck
thank
yeah.
you.
Thank you for
you guys
coming,
are so
Georgia.
beautiful.
We can't wait to work with you in the future.
Yes, absolutely. I can't wait either.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to comment, like, subscribe, and we'll see you next week.
Mwah.
Bye,
Thank you
bye.
guys. Signing off. Mwah.